Section 1. Introduction. Then versus now. In 1952, Turkey made a pivotal decision. It joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. This move anchored the nation within the Western Security Alliance during the Cold War. The United States, as the leader of this alliance, became a crucial partner. Washington supplied Ankara with advanced military hardware and extensive training. Many of Turkey's very first fighter jets were American-made, symbols of collective defense. These aircraft guarded NATO's critical southeastern flank against potential Soviet aggression. Today, however, the story has evolved. The once clear lines of partnership have become more complex. The relationship is defined by palpable tension. Choices made by Turkey in recent years have raised significant questions among its allies, especially the United States. The journey from steadfast partner to a more transactional ally is told through military aviation. Fighter jets are more than machines of war. They are symbols of political alignment and trust. For decades, American F-Series jets in the Turkish Air Force signaled interoperability with NATO. Turkish pilots and ground crews operated on the same technological and tactical wavelength as NATO counterparts. Shared doctrine and equipment made joint operations effective. But the strategic landscape shifted dramatically after the fall of the Berlin Wall. In the years following its 1952 accession to NATO, Turkey quickly became one of the alliance's most vital members. Its unique geography, bridging Europe and Asia and controlling the strategic Turkish Straits, made it an indispensable frontline state during the Cold War. The United States recognized this strategic importance immediately. Washington sought to establish military bases on Turkish soil. These bases served as crucial listening posts and as forward operating locations. In exchange, Washington initiated a massive program of military aid and modernization for the Turkish armed forces. That program ensured Turkey could contribute to the collective defense against the Soviet Union and its Warsaw Pact allies. A central pillar of that assistance was modern American fighter jets. The Turkish Air Force underwent a profound transformation, swapping older aircraft for state-of-the-art U.S. fighters. The Republic F-84 Thunderjet arrived. The North American F-100 Super Sabre arrived. These jets were not merely gifts, they were instruments of integration. Turkish pilots and technicians were sent to the United States for extensive training. They learned how to fly, they learned how to maintain the aircraft, and they learned to operate within NATO's standardized tactical frameworks. That training created a deep, lasting institutional bond between the two militaries. As the Cold War progressed, so did the flow of American air power to Turkey. The legendary F-4 Phantom II became a workhorse. Later, the versatile F-16 Fighting Falcon became central. The close alignment that characterized the U.S.-Turkey relationship for decades began to fray in the 2010s. Ankara, under a new political leadership, started pursuing a more assertive and independent foreign policy. This new doctrine, sometimes described as Neo-Ottomanism, emphasized strategic autonomy and a desire to reduce dependency on Western partners. While Turkey remained a NATO member, its government began exploring defense partnerships outside the traditional alliance. This shift was driven by a mix of factors. A growing national defense industry perceived slights from Western allies, a changing security environment on its borders, particularly the conflict in Syria. Ankara felt its security concerns weren't always being adequately addressed by NATO partners. This quest for strategic independence culminated in a momentous decision. In 2017, Turkey announced its intention to purchase the S-400. First deliveries arrived in 2019. The S-400 is one of the world's most advanced long-range surface-to-air missile systems. It can track a wide variety of aerial targets. It can also engage those targets, including stealth aircraft. Turkey's justification: it needed robust long-range air defense, and Patriot talks had stalled over price and technology transfer. The Russian offer looked more favorable and immediately available. The announcement sent shockwaves through NATO headquarters in Brussels and the Pentagon in Washington. The US and other allies voiced immediate, grave concerns. Before the S-400 crisis erupted, Turkey was a key partner in the F-35 Lightning II program, the most ambitious and expensive military project in history. The F-35 is not just a fighter jet, it is a flying information hub designed to network with allied forces and provide unparalleled situational awareness. Turkey was a Level 3 partner in the program, having invested over $1 billion in its development. It planned to purchase more than 100 F-35s to replace its aging F-4 Phantom fleet and to serve alongside its F-16s. Turkish industry was an integral part of the F-35 supply chain, manufacturing approximately 900 different components, parts of the fuselage, cockpit displays. In July 2019, the White House announced Turkey was being removed from the F-35 program. Turkish pilots training in the US were sent home, the jets built for Turkey were impounded, and those jets were integrated into the US Air Force instead. With the F-35 off the table, Turkey was left with an aging Air Force and an urgent need for modernization. Its large fleet of F-16 Fighting Falcons, the backbone of its air power for decades, required significant upgrades to remain effective in a modern combat environment. Consequently, the Turkish government turned back to the United States with a new request. In 2021, Ankara formally asked to purchase 40 new Block 70 F-16s, the most advanced version of the jet, and nearly 80 modernization kits to upgrade its existing aircraft. From a purely military standpoint, the request made perfect sense. It was a stopgap measure to maintain the Turkish Air Force's capabilities until a long-term solution could be found. However, the request landed in a political minefield in Washington. The S-400 issue remained a major point of contention. Many members of the U.S. Congress were deeply skeptical of approving another major arms sale to Turkey. They argued that providing Turkey with advanced F-16s while it continued to operate the Russian S-400 system would be rewarding bad behavior. The sale became entangled in a web of other political issues. The disputes over fighter jets and air defense systems are not just bilateral issues between Turkey and the United States. They have profound implications for the entire NATO alliance. The bedrock principle of NATO's military effectiveness is interoperability. The ability of the armed forces of all 32 member nations to operate together seamlessly as a single cohesive unit. This requires standardized equipment, secure communication networks, shared tactical doctrines. When one member nation introduces a major weapon system from a strategic adversary like Russia, it threatens to break this seamless integration. The S-400 is not designed to communicate with NATO systems. In fact, it is designed to counter them. The primary concern for NATO planners is the integrity of the alliance's shared data networks. Modern warfare is network-centric. A fighter jet like the F-35 or an upgraded F-16 is a node in a vast network, constantly sharing and receiving data with other aircraft, ships, ground forces, command centers. The fear is that an S-400 system, operating within a NATO member's territory, could act as a digital Trojan horse. It could potentially eavesdrop on these secure networks. The journey from the 1950s, when American jets symbolized a united front, to today's landscape of sanctions and strategic divergence reveals a relationship under strain. A fundamental clash exists between Turkey's pursuit of strategic autonomy and the United States and NATO's insistence on alliance cohesion. The disputes over the S-400 F-35 F-16s are not just about hardware. They're symptoms of eroding trust and diverging interests. Both Washington and Ankara have valid reasons. The U.S. must protect advanced military technology. Turkey insists on its sovereign right to procure systems it deems necessary. Looking ahead, reconciliation is difficult but possible. First, a commitment to sustained, candid dialogue. Allies must speak openly about security needs and red lines. Move beyond public posturing into quiet, pragmatic diplomacy. Seek balance. Meet Turkey's defense needs without compromising NATO security. Fly together again, symbols of a modernized, resilient partnership.